What if I told you that one of the most iconic James Bond films was built on lies, accidents, and secrets that Hollywood tried to bury? Goldfinger wasn't just a movie. It was a carefully constructed illusion that fooled millions of viewers and nearly destroyed careers in the process. From deadly accidents on set to government cover-ups, the truth behind this 1964 masterpiece is more explosive than any Bond gadget. If you're ready to discover the shocking reality behind the golden facade, make sure you hit that subscribe button because we're about to expose secrets that will change how you see this legendary film forever. These aren't just fun facts, they're jaw-dropping revelations that prove sometimes reality is stranger than fiction. Number 20. The Bond formula was actually born. Here everyone thinks they know Bond, but here's what they don't tell you. Goldfinger didn't just follow the Bond formula, it created it. Before this film, the franchise was still finding its identity. The megalomaniac villain, the deadly gadgets, that killer theme song. Every single element that defines Bond today was perfected in this movie. Studios have been copying this exact blueprint for 60 years, and most people have no idea they're watching the same formula over and over again. What's even crazier is that this template was almost completely different. The original screenplay had Bond using conventional weapons and facing a much more realistic villain. Test audiences found it boring compared to the outrageous spectacle they eventually created. Every blockbuster action franchise since then owes its existence to the decision to go bigger, bolder, and more ridiculous than anyone thought possible at the time. But if you think the formula was the only thing this movie revolutionized, wait until you hear how one simple prop became gaming's most controversial weapon. Number 19. Oddjob's hat became gaming's most hated weapon. Decades after the film wrapped, Oddjob's deadly bowler hat caused another controversy that nobody saw coming. When GoldenEye 007 hit Nintendo 64, players discovered that Oddjob's hat was so overpowered it broke the game. The weapon was so unfair that it got banned from competitive play, making it the first movie prop to become a video game cheat. Even today, mention Oddjob's hat to any gamer and watch them get triggered. The character's legacy lived on in ways the filmmakers never imagined. Game developers tried to balance the weapon multiple times, but nothing worked. The hat's unique trajectory and instant kill potential made it impossible to counter, leading to rage quits and broken friendships across the globe. What started as a cool movie gadget became the most notorious game-breaking weapon in video game history. Speaking of breaking things, the movie's massive budget nearly broke the studio's bank account. Number 18. The most expensive Bond film nearly flopped $3 million. That was Goldfinger's massive budget, making it the most expensive Bond film ever made at the time. Executives were sweating bullets, convinced they'd blown their money on an overpriced experiment. Then something incredible happened. The film earned over $120 million worldwide, proving that sometimes the biggest risks pay off the most. But here's the kicker. If just a few key scenes had been cut by censors, that massive profit would have vanished overnight. The studio heads were so nervous about the budget that they considered firing the director halfway through production. Multiple investors pulled out when they saw the elaborate set pieces and expensive special effects. The film was literally days away from being shut down permanently when early test screenings proved it was going to be a gold mine. Sometimes gambling everything is the only way to win big. But even with all that money, they still had to use body doubles in the strangest places. Number 17. Sean Connery had a secret stunt double for golf. You'd think a simple golf scene would be easy for Sean Connery to handle himself, right? Wrong. If you look closely during the golf match between Bond and Goldfinger, you'll spot something hilarious. Connery's stunt double standing in for him during what should have been the most casual scene in the entire movie. Why would they need a body double for golf? The truth reveals just how demanding the production really was, and how every single moment was more choreographed than audiences realized. Connery was actually a decent golfer in real life, but the specific shots required for the scene were so precise that they needed a professional golfer to nail them perfectly. The double had to match Connery's stance, swing, and even his facial expressions while delivering dialogue. It took 3 days to film what should have been a simple conversation on a golf course. While they were faking golf swings, they were also faking something much more valuable. Number 16. The Fort Knox gold was mostly worthless. Those gleaming gold bars stacked throughout Fort Knox. complete fakes. The entire vault was filled with painted wooden blocks that cost pennies to make. But here's where it gets interesting. They kept exactly one real gold bar on set as a reference point, and that single bar was guarded more carefully than some actual banks guard their entire vaults. The irony wasn't lost on anyone that a movie about gold theft was using fake gold while protecting one real bar like it was the crown jewels. The prop department spent weeks perfecting the paint mixture to get the exact golden shine they needed. They went through dozens of different formulas before finding one that looked authentic under the studio lights. The real gold bar was worth more than most crew members' annual salaries, which is why they hired actual security guards to watch it during filming breaks. But the fake gold wasn't the only artificial element that fooled audiences completely. Number 15. The laser sound came from movie theaters. That terrifying buzz of Goldfinger's laser beam that still gives people chills. It's not what you think. The sound engineers didn't use some high-tech recording equipment or synthesizers. They grabbed a regular movie projector, recorded it running, then sped up the audio until it sounded menacing. Every time you hear that iconic laser sound, you're actually listening to the same machine that probably played the movie in theaters. Talk about coming full circle. The sound team tried dozens of different approaches before stumbling onto the projector idea by accident. They experimented with everything from dentist drills to industrial machinery, but nothing captured the right combination of mechanical precision and underlying menace. The projector sound was perfect because it had the familiar mechanical quality that felt both futuristic and grounded in reality. That creative sound design helped sell more than just movie tickets. It saved an entire car company. Number 14. A toy car saved a luxury brand. The Aston Martin DB5 became so popular after Goldfinger that it literally saved the entire company from bankruptcy. But here's the twist. It wasn't just the real car that made bank. The toy version of the DB5 outsold nearly every other car toy of that era, proving that Bond's influence reached far beyond the movie theater. Kids who couldn't even pronounce Aston Martin were begging their parents for that specific toy, and the company went from struggling to survive to becoming a status symbol overnight. Toy stores couldn't keep the DB5 models in stock for months after the movie's release. Parents were paying premium prices just to get their hands on the gadget-filled replica, complete with working ejector seat and machine guns. The toy sales actually generated more immediate revenue for Aston Martin than the actual car orders, which took months to fulfill. This unexpected success story created a completely new way for movies to make money. Number 13. The DB5 created a marketing revolution. Speaking of that Aston Martin, its success in Goldfinger changed Hollywood forever. Before this film, product placement was subtle and barely noticeable. After audiences fell in love with Bond's gadget-filled car, every studio in town realized they could make serious money by featuring specific brands. The DB5 didn't just boost Aston Martin's sales, it created the entire modern product placement industry that now dominates every major blockbuster. Marketing executives from other companies started calling the studio within days of the film's release, desperate to get their products into the next Bond movie. What had been a simple business arrangement between Aston Martin and the filmmakers suddenly became a bidding war between luxury brands. The automotive product placement in modern movies can trace its roots directly back to this single car appearance. But while some people were getting rich from the movie, others were literally getting burned. Number 12. Harold Sakata burned himself and kept acting. During the climactic fight scene in Fort Knox, something went horribly wrong. Harold Sakata, who played the deadly Oddjob, actually burned his hands on the electrified gold bars. Instead of stopping the scene, this former Olympic weightlifter powered through the genuine pain and finished the take. The directors loved his authentic reaction so much they kept it in the final cut. Every time you watch that scene, you're seeing real agony mixed with professional dedication. The electrical effects were supposed to be completely safe, but a malfunction in the wiring created actual current that flowed through the metal props. Sakata felt the shock immediately, but didn't want to ruin the expensive shot by breaking character. The burn marks on his hands took weeks to heal, and he still has scars from that single take. Sakata's dedication to his craft was remarkable, but his past held secrets that almost derailed the entire production. Number 11. A Nazi past almost destroyed the film. Just when Goldfinger seemed unstoppable, a bombshell revelation nearly killed its box office potential. Gert Frobe, the actor who played the title villain, was exposed as a former Nazi Party member. Israel immediately moved to ban the film, and other countries considered following suit. The movie's future looked doomed until something incredible happened. A Jewish family came forward to reveal that Frobe had actually saved their lives during World War II, risking his own safety to help them escape. Sometimes the most unlikely heroes emerge from the darkest chapters of history. The studio went into full damage control mode, hiring investigators to verify the family's claims and public relations experts to manage the crisis. Frobe himself was devastated by the accusations and considered quitting acting entirely. The revelation that he had been a resistance hero rather than a Nazi collaborator came just days before several major markets were set to ban the film permanently. But Frobe's controversial past wasn't the only thing that nearly got the movie banned. Number 10. The film almost got banned for being too graphic. Censors took one look at the laser table scene and nearly slapped Goldfinger with an X rating, which would have killed its commercial prospects instantly. The image of a laser slowly approaching Bond's most sensitive area was considered too intense for general audiences. After frantic editing and multiple meetings with ratings boards, the film barely squeaked by with acceptable cuts. What you see in theaters is actually a watered-down version of what the filmmakers originally shot. The original scene was nearly twice as long and showed the laser getting much closer to Bond before Goldfinger called it off. Censors were also concerned about the sexual implications and the torture elements, which were unprecedented in mainstream cinema at the time. The filmmakers had to remove several close-up shots and reduce the tension-building moments to satisfy the ratings board. Despite all the censorship battles, one simple moment in the film created cinema's most famous catchphrase. Number 9. 4 words changed cinema forever. Bond. James Bond. Those 4 simple words, delivered by Sean Connery in Goldfinger, became the most recognizable character introduction in movie history. But here's what most people don't know. Connery had said those words in previous films, but something about his delivery in this specific movie made it click with audiences worldwide. That moment of perfect timing and tone created a catchphrase that's been quoted, parodied, and referenced for 6 decades straight. The line was actually improvised differently in several takes, with Connery experimenting with various inflections and pauses. The version that made it into the final cut had a subtle confidence that wasn't present in the earlier films. Something about the way he delivered it, while surrounded by all the high-tech gadgets and elaborate sets, gave the words a weight they'd never had before. Speaking of memorable performances, the film's theme song nearly claimed a life during recording. Number 8. Shirley Bassey almost died recording the theme. The opening theme song nearly claimed a victim before the movie even reached theaters. Shirley Bassey held that final note so long during recording that she literally began to faint in the booth. Sound engineers watched in horror as one of the most powerful voices in music pushed herself to the point of collapse just to nail the perfect take. The result became one of the most iconic Bond themes ever, but it almost cost Bassey her consciousness to achieve it. The recording session lasted over 12 hours as Bassey attempted to hit the perfect combination of power and duration for that climactic note. Medical personnel were actually called to the studio when she collapsed, but she insisted on trying again once she recovered. The final version you hear in the movie was literally the take where she pushed herself to her physical limits. That dedication to perfection caught the attention of some very powerful people. Number 7. The President of the United States demanded a private screening. By 1964, James Bond had become such a cultural phenomenon that President Lyndon B. Johnson personally requested a private White House screening of Goldfinger. Think about that. The leader of the free world was so curious about a British spy movie that he used presidential privilege to watch it before anyone else in America. The fact that Bond commanded attention at the highest levels of government proves just how massive the franchise had become. Johnson was reportedly fascinated by the gadgets and asked detailed questions about whether such technology actually existed. The CIA had to brief him afterward about the realistic possibilities of some of the spy equipment shown in the film. The presidential screening created a media frenzy and legitimized Bond as more than just entertainment. It was now a cultural institution, but even presidential attention couldn't help with some of the technical challenges the actors faced. Number 6. Sean Connery acted terrified of nothing. Remember that nail-biting scene where Bond is strapped to a table with a laser slowly moving toward him? Connery had to deliver one of his most intense performances while staring at absolutely nothing. The laser beam was completely fake, added frame by frame through painstaking hand animation. Connery had to imagine the terror, the desperation, and the pain while looking at empty air. His ability to sell that fear to audiences proves why he became the definitive Bond. The special effects team used a combination of hand-drawn animation and optical tricks that took months to complete. Each frame had to be individually painted to create the laser effect, making it one of the most labor-intensive sequences in the entire film. Connery spent hours strapped to that table, delivering terrified reactions to invisible threats while dozens of crew members worked around him. While the movie magic was impressive, the real-world security measures were even more extraordinary. Number 5. The real Fort Knox was too secure for Hollywood. The U.S. government took one look at the Goldfinger script and immediately said no to filming inside the real Fort Knox. So the production team did something incredible. They built their own version so convincing that military personnel who saw it thought they were looking at classified government footage. The fake vault was more detailed and impressive than most real bank security systems, which says something disturbing about actual government security. The set designers spent months researching every available detail about Fort Knox's interior, using architectural drawings and interviewing former employees to create their replica. When military consultants visited the set, several of them asked how the production team had gained access to classified blueprints. The fake vault was so realistic that it was used as reference material in several subsequent spy films. The attention to detail extended to the casting choices, where raw physical power trumped acting experience. Number 4. Harold Sakata's strength was 100% real. While most movie tough guys rely on camera tricks and stunt doubles, Harold Sakata brought legitimate physical power to the role of Oddjob. As a former Olympic weightlifter and professional wrestler, every display of strength you see on screen was authentic. When he throws that deadly hat with pinpoint accuracy or crushes objects with his bare hands, you're watching genuine superhuman ability in action. Sakata could actually bend steel bars and crush golf balls in his grip, stunts that required no special effects or movie magic. The crew was constantly amazed by his casual displays of strength during breaks between takes. His wrestling background also meant he could perform his own fight choreography and handle the physical demands of the action sequences without complaint. That authentic strength came in handy when dealing with some dangerous on-set accidents. Number 3. Gert Frobe's voice was completely fake. The commanding presence of Auric Goldfinger was built on a lie that fooled every audience member. Gert Frobe, the German actor who played the title villain, barely spoke English and couldn't deliver his lines with the proper accent or intonation. Every single word you hear Goldfinger speak was actually voiced by British actor Michael Collins, who dubbed over Frobe's entire performance. This created one of cinema's most elaborate deceptions, where audiences believed they were hearing Frobe's natural menacing voice when it was actually a completely different actor providing all the dialogue. But that vocal trickery wasn't the only illusion that fooled audiences worldwide. Number 2. The gold paint death myth fooled the world. When Jill Masterson appeared covered in gold paint, audiences were mesmerized by the striking visual. But then something unexpected happened. Rumors began spreading that actress Shirley Eaton had actually died during filming from skin suffocation caused by the paint. The myth became so widespread that newspapers around the world reported her death as fact, even though she was very much alive and continued acting for decades afterward. The rumor gained such credibility that Eaton herself had to make multiple public appearances to prove she hadn't died, turning her into an accidental celebrity based on a completely false story. But the most dangerous moment on set wasn't a myth. It was a very real accident that could have been fatal. Number 1. Oddjob's deadly hat actually knocked someone out. The most shocking secret behind Goldfinger involves a real-life accident that nearly turned deadly. Harold Sakata's steel-brimmed bowler hat, Oddjob's signature weapon, actually knocked out a stuntman during filming when Sakata's throw went off target. The impact was so severe that the crew thought they might have witnessed a genuine fatality on set. The stuntman was hospitalized with a severe concussion, and the incident forced the production team to completely redesign their safety protocols. What makes this incredible is that they kept the dangerous hat throws in the final film, meaning audiences were watching genuine near-death experiences disguised as entertainment. The truth behind Goldfinger proves that sometimes the most entertaining stories are built on the most dangerous foundations. From presidential screenings to on-set injuries, this wasn't just a movie, it was a cultural phenomenon that changed everything from toy sales to government security briefings. But here's the thing, Hollywood is still hiding secrets just like these in every major blockbuster being made today. If you want to discover more shocking truths behind your favorite films, make sure you're subscribed with notifications turned on because we're constantly uncovering stories that studios don't want you to know. Hit that like button if any of these facts blew your mind, and drop a comment telling us which Bond film we should expose next. Trust me, once you start seeing behind the curtain, you'll never watch movies the same way again. Until next time, keep questioning everything you see on screen.